So most of you probably know me as the founder of Emerald Isle Properties about 200 or 300 years ago. And we've had fun doing real estate, and I wouldn't be here doing this if it weren't for my wife Harvest, who now does almost all of the real estate. I put more than 100% of my time in PAL nowadays, and it's working. I want to just tell you a little bit about the convention. I was so blessed to win this award, and I'm just completely amazed at what the National Association of Realtors is doing for us. If you noticed in the Garden Island yesterday, there was a full-page ad about us from the National Association of Realtors in the Midweek magazine, and they just made us feel like celebrities in Orlando. I call it my 15 minutes of fame, and I'm so great. Oh, I don't have the clicker. Oh, here it is. Okay. So basically, when I arrived in Orlando, I felt this is me in my hotel room on the 18th floor, looking down on the convention center below us. And all of the realtors, there are only 5 towns in cities in America now that can handle a National Association of Realtors convention, because we need 15,000 hotel rooms to pull this off. And the convention center that you're looking at right there, it's hard to tell the scale. The realtors held our convention. All the realtors were walking around with their mouths hanging open because of the scale, the size of the rooms. The room that we met in, we had like 4,000 people in the room, and you're looking at that and you're going, this room is just unbelievable. And then we found out as the winners, they took us backstage. There is no backstage. It's a continuation of the same room, which is larger than the room we were in. They just had a mobile screen that they could slide back and forth depending on how big the room needed to be. So the rooms were the whole thing was gargantuan. And Leilani went with me when we would walk around. This is me in front of the Good Neighbor Award booth. And when we would walk around, we would leave our hotel rooms and go down and take a bridge from our hotel over several roads to get to the convention center. I checked it out. It took us 2/3 of a mile to get from our hotel to the convention center, and we never stepped out on the street. And it was only later, when I'm looking at what's really going on here, the convention center we were in was the old convention center. It was the little one that they've now replaced with the one that you're looking at, and there's another 1/4 of a mile bridge between those two. So if we'd have been in this one, we'd have had to walk 1.5 miles to get to it. But the scale of the whole thing was just astonishing. Orlando is an amazing place. So this is our dear Leilani with me, and Leilani's an agent in my office. She nominated me for the award, and Leilani, would you mind standing? She's also the president of the board of PAL Kaua'i, Permanently Affordable Living. You understand that this is very intentionally not affordable housing. This is permanently affordable living, because we're realizing that if we can give people a house or help them get into a house, but they need to be able to keep that house, they need to be able to appreciate that house and understand what it takes, and they also need to be able to afford to have a life while they're in that house, so that they can put their children through school and maybe even have a vacation once in a while without having to work 3 jobs. So how are we doing that? We're working really hard to try to change the paradigm of affordable living. By the way, we were partly celebrities because of the lei that Nani was so kind to send us. Even though she couldn't come, most of the people from Hawaii couldn't make it because of the hurricane, and the timing just didn't work. So Nani made sure that we got our lei, and that made us celebrities even more. People were just, oh, you're from Hawaii. It was just so fun. So how are we doing affordable housing? We've been working at it really hard for a lot of years to try to figure this out. But I'm going to elaborate on that a little bit more. Check out my award over at our booth, at the PAL booth. That thing is just astonishing. It's just a little piece of glass like this. I think it probably weighs about 15 pounds. It's just really amazing. You know, we all tend to, this is me during the interview in the banquet for the award. And I think I had in the back of my mind, and maybe most of you do, that realtors who do good works like this and win these awards are mostly trying to improve their career or do something that helps them. That's not the case. We had a 3.5-hour meeting with some of the winners of the Good Neighbor Award. There was not a dry eye in that room almost the entire time. These people worked so hard. There's a lady who probably weighs 100 pounds and sends out over 100,000 pounds of food every month. I asked her, so how do you decide who gets the food? She said, whoever needs it, whoever asks for it. So she sent it to Africa, she sent it to the Ukraine, to all kinds of groups all over America. There was the lady who has 4 children, but over a period of years has adopted 55 children to try to take care of them. And it was just so heartrending to see the work that's being done by these people. During this interview, I could barely keep it together. I was in tears most of the time. The work that we're doing is so moving also. So it's just so you know, this is Sarah Geimer, who runs the Good Neighbor Award organization. She's been doing it for the NAR for 23 years. Miracle worker, does so much amazing work. So this is the current logo of PAL. We're in redevelopment, redesign now, but that's the logo. I actually did that logo years ago. And people ask me, why did I start this work? I pulled a MLS study yesterday afternoon just to get ready for this. We live on the North Shore. The North Shore is estimated 24-mile stretch from Molowa to the end of the road. Yesterday, the least expensive house on the North Shore was $1.6 million. Kilauea is a worker town. People make $13, $15 an hour in Kilauea. On our PAL KKCR radio show, we ran one show to say, don't sell your house. Not unless you know what you're going to do, because you're not going to be able to stay on the island if you do. And it's just amazing. So the next number I'll tell you is yesterday there were 20 houses on the island under $1 million. 20 houses on the whole island. And as realtors, we've sold, I think it's 890 houses under $1 million since 2020, January 2020. So basically, we have about a 2-hour inventory of houses under $1 million, but of course, it keeps replenishing itself because people go, whoa, if I can get $1 million for the house that was worth $300,000 2 months ago or 6 months ago, I'm going to put mine out there on the market. We encourage people to be careful. So, 2 other people who I want to introduce. Taylor, would you mind standing up? 6.5 years ago, Taylor Kaua'i Reed, reached out to us and said she wanted to hang her real estate license with us. And I'm like, you just got your degree with honors from UH. Why did you get a real estate license? She said, I wanted to help my generation get property on Kaua'i. And I said, yeah, chicken skin. I said, this is so noble. Let's focus on that. Let's see if we can help them. And we did a little bit, and my very bad dad joke is it took us about 20 minutes to figure out that there's nothing we could do for the local people anymore because the prices 6.5 years ago had already left them in the dust. So I said, so why don't we build affordable housing? In my naivety, I said, can't be that hard. Surely we can break ground in a year or two. And at the end of the second year, we were able to actually form PAL, a nonprofit, a 501c3, and I hope that will register in your mind as to what that means for you and your clients donating money. So basically, at the end of 2 years, we got so frustrated, I said, I've got to build something. So this is our first housing project. We had about 8 of those around the property, around our office, and just trying to get things going. But now, 4.5 years later, PAL has 4 existing projects on all sides of the island, and those we are so on the move. It's just really amazing. I will tell you that PAL has, and this is, take it with a grain of salt, PAL has raised almost $10 million in donations this year. Please keep that between us, because when we got the first $5 million, we bragged about it in the newspaper and everybody said, oh, you don't need any more money, we're not going to donate. So we're not telling people about that, but we're really proud of it, because one of our supporters said, Jim, whenever you talk to people, be sure to tell them how much money you need, the total amount. And I said, so you think I should tell them we need $2.25 billion with a B? She said, maybe not that much. But I do want to say, these are the projects. I'm going to kind of run through them quickly because Nani's giving me the hairy eyeball. This is our project from Kilauea. This is, we sold a project as brokers back in 2000. It was called Kilauea Estates. It's actually, most people know it as the Titcomb subdivision. And it was 48 houses. We sold 3-bedroom, 3-bath houses, two bath houses with two car garages, concrete floor, concrete driveway. We sold these houses in 2000 for $159,000. When I get people in these houses, there are 11 of them, they're flat out adjacent to the houses that I just mentioned. They are much less expensive to build. They're wonderful little homes, but they are based on habitat plans, and they have been value engineered to be able to build them as inexpensively as possible. And these homes, it looks like they will cost us $450,000 to build. So, although we can put them on the market for less than half of what the average home cost or any home cost on the North Shore now, it still makes it really hard for us to be able to function within the parameters of federal funding. Not only that, it looks like by the time we get people in those houses, it will have been 7 years since we first started working on this project. This is the layout of the plan. It's right across the street from the post office in Kilauea, and most of you have probably seen, or many of you who come to the North Shore have probably seen this sign across from the post office now, where we have broken ground. Almost exactly 6 years after we started this work, we were able to break ground on this project, and the wastewater treatment systems are almost installed now. And this is the road being built by the amazing man Roger Taniguchi, who is an icon of Kilauea, and basically this is the wastewater treatment system that's being put in by Island Septic Solutions, amazing people who are helping us so much. This is now is the road construction, and you'll see what terrible views these houses are going to have. The 5-bedroom home that we're going to build out on the corner will have one of the best views on the North Shore, and I will tell anybody I could list it tomorrow for $2.25 million, and nobody would blink an eye. But we hope to get it out for about $700,000 to a family who needs a 5-bedroom home. Thank you. This project may start because of supply chain issues in Kilauea with the plumbing pipes, water pipes. This project in Kaua'i may start before that. We will be co-developing this project with Habitat. This will be 10 homes on Pu'u Road in Kaua'i. Then this project will be in Waipoli. There'll be 17 units, mostly duplexes in Waipoli. We hope to break ground this summer, also co-developing with Habitat. So we kept figuring out, okay, what is permanently affordable living? If it takes us 7 years to build 11 homes and they cost us almost $500,000, how do we get families in things that are less expensive than that? This little complex in Kaua'i came on the market, and Kekaha, and it's right across the street from the ocean, obviously. So I knew that someone would buy it and remodel it and CPR it and sell the units. So we call this an affordability preservation project, and we were able to purchase this project through a donation for $2.6 million, and we now have it filled with people who were living on the street. Most of them were living in their cars. Through HUD helping us, and this is us showing off, Taylor and Larry and I and Harvey showing off the $5 million donation that enabled us to buy that project, which came from one couple, an amazing couple who do not live here. They own a few properties here. This Kekaha project is amazing. So I'm going to kind of run through these because this now, as of today, we are dropping the inspection to purchase the building that Hoku Health Food Store is in Kaua'i. There are 14 units upstairs, and those will be affordable rental units. On January 13th, we'll take over that complex. Thank you. If you're wondering how you can help, we need property that is multifamily zoned. Kaina, the planning director, told me recently, you guys are fighting over the dregs. There's nothing left. All of the multifamily zoning went to upscale apartments and hotels, so there's not much left. If you come across something, particularly if it's not listed in this multifamily zone, whether it's land or particularly, I'm leaning more toward buildings, because it takes me 7 years and $500,000 to get people in a house. This is 6 months and $215,000 a unit. So if we can find buildings, that's what I want to focus on. That $5 million also enabled us to build Powell Construction Company. We've hired a contractor, Stephen Spears, formerly of Habitat, is helping us put that together so that we can be sustainable and efficient and be able to serve our clientele, what we're trying to do. This is another project that we're working on. Milo spent, Stephen Spears and I and several other of the affordable housing developers have now formed Kaua'i Affordable Housing Alliance. And our goal, very simple, we don't have noble goals or anything. Our goal is to solve the housing crisis on Kaua'i for once and for all. We are visualizing a fund. We're working on it as we speak. We're visualizing a fund that will not rely on government or institutional financing, but will be privately funded, and that will be more flexible, that will not, and not so concerned about risk. They'll be willing to move faster so that we can actually solve this crisis within 10 to 15 years. And it will be a revolving fund so that donors who put money in it will be able to write off their donations, but it won't be just a one-time shot and then gone. It'll be a revolving fund. We will sell the houses affordably to the buyers, roll the money back into the fund, and that's the way we're planning to solve this crisis for once and for all. This is just showing how many houses sell every year in America, and this is showing what percentage of them is being bought by institutional investors, SPACs, REITs, house flippers. I'm a broker. I've done this for 35 years, and you know, it's hard for me to say this, but it's getting hard for me to watch people on television who are trying to teach you how to flip houses. Because what does an investor do with a house? Just think about it. And this is homeless. I'm going to skip this one. There's so much. I mean, I just read today that it's estimated that 62% of people in America today are living check to check. Their car breaks down, what do? And they're competing. This is our PAL team that we're very proud to have representing us now. And Raquel, if you wouldn't stand up, Raquel Sagato Figueroa, who's been with us for about a year. She is just, I mean, it's scary, the genius of the people who are working with us now. They kind of leave me behind. Basically, what I wanted to ask you, if you wouldn't mind, if you are moved by what I have to say, please pick up your phone, point your camera at this screen, touch the little button that shows up, and donate money. And if you have the courage and the ability, please press the recurring donation button so that that happens continuously, because this is what's keeping us afloat, and this is why we can do this miracle work. I just keep saying over and over again, we are no longer in a housing crisis. This is a full-blown tragedy. And if we can't solve it, from what I can tell, if we realtors can't solve it, nobody can. We're the largest professional organization in America, one of the wealthiest professional organizations in America, and we have one of the wealthiest clientele in America. So please lean into it and help us solve this crisis. It's an emergency. Thank you.
Thank you, Jim.